Liverpool lose 4-2 to AC Milan on their first game in their pre-season tour. A game in which Liverpool were very good in the first half, in my opinion. Were very good in possession. Were doing some good stuff on the ball, particularly in the first half. I thought they were a lot better. But off the ball is where they struggled at times, particularly in transition, defending transition. And Rafael Leao did cause Liverpool a lot of problems. And with Joe Gomez being sent back from tour with an injury, Konate being injury prone, the fact that Liverpool didn't even replace Matip and haven't even replaced Kwanzaa yet, I think there is a bit of pressure for Liverpool to probably go and get Mark Gay before anyone else. I know you want Isak, but Isak could wait. Newcastle's still working on Sesko. I think you'd need to sell Diaz to fund Isak. If I'm Liverpool, I would look at Mark Gay. Look, it's pre-season. I don't think pre-season games are that deep. I'm already seeing Arsenal fans comparing their win over AC Milan to Liverpool's loss and over-analysing this Liverpool pre-season game. Arsenal fans, look, it's a pre-season game. Man United beat Liverpool in a pre-season game under Eric Ten Hag. It's not that deep. It's in pre-season is where you look at fitness, you look at general ideas and patterns, and it can give you indications of how teams are going to play. But it's not super deep. I think Liverpool were very good in that first half. In the second half, they didn't have Salah, they didn't have Wirtz, they didn't have Szoboszlai. And then the second half was where, Milan caused them issues, and I think, we've got to look at the game and give it context. As much as I'd love to sit here and make a joke that pre-season games matter and try and banter Liverpool. One, I'm not going to banter Liverpool because Man United play West Ham tonight and I'm not that confident. So it might backfire. And two, like pre-season's that deep. But I'm seeing people overreacting a little bit. I don't know why. I'm seeing people as well put Wirtz's sofa score up and being like, flop Wirtz, double 001, Wirtz is rubbish. Wirtz was good. Wirtz could have had 2 assists, okay? Wirtz was good. Liverpool were good in the first half, not so good in the second half. Clearly missed Wirtz, clearly missed Szoboszlai. I want to talk about those two and what they brought. I thought Szoboszlai was incredible today. I thought Rio Ngumoha looked good, and could he be Liverpool's sort of 6th attacker next season? So yeah, we're going to break down sort of the key takeaways from the Liverpool game. I thought Tsimikas was bad. I think there was defensive issues, but I thought on the ball Liverpool were good. I thought off the ball they struggled. I thought Frimpong got in some good areas. Gakpo looked solid. Nunes was missed. He's been good in pre-season, but apparently he's got a minor injury. Is that minor injury or an actual minor injury? And Diaz is obviously out because of speculation. But we're going to talk about the game. I think I've got 8 talking points on the game, sort of the bigger picture, Slot, all of this kind of stuff. I've got a few talking points on the game. So I want to break down what we learned from the game. So first things first, I think Liverpool started brightly. I thought they dominated spells of the first half. I think the individual brilliance and quality from Rafael Leao was on show. And honestly, my first thought was, why have Arsenal gone for Madueke when Rafael Leao was on the market? First thought was that. Second thought was, Rafael Leao was a baller. Third thought is, Liverpool are relying on Van Dijk a lot this season. A lot for a player that is aging, who isn't injury prone, but if an injury to Van Dijk and Liverpool they're in issues. You could argue Liverpool need 2 centre backs. I think Gay would be enough, but you could argue they need 2. Endo could play there. Gravenberch could play there. Tsimikas can't play there. Liverpool, I thought they were good on the ball, good going forward. I think they struggled defensively, and I think there was a big drop off in the second half because sometimes they had a lot of the ball and they didn't know what to do with it. But when you had Wirtz and Szoboszlai and Salah in the first half, they were much better on the ball. They've got that quality. Like Florian Wirtz, I do feel like you could tell he's new. Like, I thought Florian Wirtz was good, by the way. I'm not going to go off a sofa score rating and what people on Twitter say. I thought Florian Wirtz was good. Little touches, little passes. I think he's technically good. I think he reads the game well. He could have got an assist to Harvey Elliott if that was an actual striker, if that was Isak. Salah, I don't know why he didn't shoot. He could have got 2 assists. Florian Wirtz was making things happen. The one thing I noticed is there was times where Florian Wirtz could have been passed to and he wasn't passed to by Liverpool players, and just getting him a bit more involved. I think that will be as he learns and grows and gets chemistry and understands his role, of course. But I felt there was a big drop-off when Florian Wirtz and Szoboszlai came off, because you've got Szoboszlai just there, winning back the ball, progressive passes. And Szoboszlai normally has just got unbelievable ball striking. But that finish from Szoboszlai was not like a rocket. It was a well-placed finish. But you had Szoboszlai eager to win back the ball, play passes. Florian Wirtz playing those quick, progressive passes, 1-2 technical vision, reminded me of De Bruyne aspects. And there was a lot of quality from Liverpool in that first half, and a lot of areas where Liverpool were good in that first half. And I think in the second half, they had a lot of ball, but I think they were just struggling to find the solutions without those 2 players on the pitch. And I want to talk about Szoboszlai and Wirtz in more detail. On top of that, I think AC Milan just capitalised in transition. lack of defensive organisation. Look, the second half there was no Van Dijk. Konate is obviously a good player, but the defense wasn't quite there in the second half. But I thought there was positive signs on the younger players. Naoni's good, but I think Naoni was played a bit more advanced than he usually suits him. I think he's had better preseason games, but I thought Rio and Ngumoha was impressive. Now I look at this and I go, if you want to sign Isak, you've got to sell Nunez. So sell Nunez. I would have never have sold Diaz, but clearly he wants to go and clearly he's going to be sold. So sell Diaz, and I would probably sell Harvey Elliott. Now, I like Harvey Elliott. I rate Harvey Elliott highly, but Florian Wirtz is younger than Harvey Elliott, which surprises people. But Florian Wirtz is younger than Harvey Elliott. You spent over 115 million on him to play in Harvey Elliott's position. So you brought a younger player and spent over 100 million on them to play in Harvey Elliott's position, best position, which is 10. You've already got Szoboszlai there. I think Harvey Elliott you could get 40 million for. I think he's a very good player. But I think for Harvey Elliott, he would do really well at like a Villa or a Newcastle, like a good Premier League side. I think the Newcastle would be a really good move for Harvey Elliott, and that could be used in some kind of deal for Isak. And then you've got to use that money to bring in Gay. I think Palace will put the price up now. Isak, I think you're looking to do it. Like Isak isn't a necessity with Ekatike coming in, but if you sell Diaz and you sell Elliott, you can get it. But I do look at left wing, and Fofana has been linked to Everton now, and he was probably a good option there. I don't know if Rodrigo's going to be affordable in a window where you've signed Isak and Wirtz. Obviously, you didn't sign anyone really the window before, and there'll be sales made. It'll be interesting to see what you do, but I think that's what Liverpool want. Now, I think Rio being good would take the pressure off needing another winger, and Frimpong can clearly play right wing. But I think with Chiesa set to go, obviously, sadly, what's happened with Jota, Nunez, and Diaz potentially leaving in the same window, it would probably be needed. Ekatike can play on the left. I might do a video if you sign Isak. I'm going to wait until if you sign Isak. Which looking more likely with Newcastle and Vasesco. If you sign Isak, I will do a video on how Ekatike and Isak could play together and have that kind of marmouche relationship and how it could work. But I want to talk about Szoboszlai, I want to talk about Wirtz, and I want to talk about Rio and Ngumoha. So yeah, Szoboszlai was the standout. He had the energy. I thought he showed technical quality today, pressing, aggression. Szoboszlai, whenever Liverpool play a big team, is always one of Liverpool's standout players. Sometimes I think if Liverpool are dominating possession and they're playing a lower down the table league, Szoboszlai isn't always as good. But the minute Liverpool are playing a big team, it's a big game, it's a physical game. I always feel like Szoboszlai is one of the standout. When you played the Big Six last year, he was always there pressing, winning back the ball, getting goals, getting assists. His numbers against the bigger teams were really good. He's got a real importance there. And like when we've been doing starting 11s, obviously McAllister, I think, is Liverpool's best midfielder. I think he's a world-class player, but it's like, okay, Wirtz 10, McAllister 8, Gravenberch 6. Where's Szoboszlai? Because I don't think it's a case now of just dropping Szoboszlai and putting Wirtz in there. I think it's a case of making Szoboszlai and Wirtz work together, whether that be Szoboszlai playing at right back and coming in and creating this box midfield, which we saw in Liverpool's other preseason games, will be interesting. But I feel like as good as McAllister, Gravenberch and Wirtz is, Szoboszlai brings something that nobody else at Liverpool can bring. And also Szoboszlai is probably the best progressive passer after Trent, and with Trent going, Szoboszlai can bring elements of that, which Liverpool may miss, because Frimpong, while attacking, is a different profile to Trent. But that goal was was class. He was just winning back the ball, diving in. He was physically dominant, getting in the right areas, and it was sort of like a double 10 setup today. And I think he was crucial in that. I think he was working well. And I think with Trent out, Szoboszlai's ability to play passes was very good. I thought he was good. I thought Wirtz was good. I think, yeah, we could have saw more of Wirtz on the ball. I think play went through Wirtz a little bit, and I think Liverpool need to get him more involved. But I thought Wirtz was good in the sense of his IQ, his technicality, his scanning, his movement. For me, he was impressive. I'm looking at the little things, the dropping between the lines, the scanning, the quick passes, the technical ability, and he should have had 2 assists. Salah and Elliott, he could have had 2 assists. He was creating. Wirtz is one of those players where you sometimes just need to get him in a good position once, and he can play a pass that could unlock the striker and win you a game. Wirtz is one of those technical players where even if he doesn't have the best all-round influence on a game, he has the thing in his locker where he can play that one pass and it can change the game. Now, obviously, he normally has good influence on game because of his technical ability. But look, he didn't score, didn't assist, but he was very good in the tight spaces, very good off the ball with his movement, playing in a slightly different role to what he'd probably playing anyway. And I felt that he's offered Liverpool a profile in the field they've lacked for a while. You haven't had a real technical creator number 10 in a while. Szoboszlai is very different. And I was talking about Szoboszlai and Wirtz, and I think they need to play together in maybe a double 10 blueprint, like deployed in a box midfield behind potentially Isak. I think they can bring not only the physical side but the technical side. You've got the perfect physical in Szoboszlai and the perfect technical in Wirtz. Like Szoboszlai's top three most physical tens in the world, and Wirtz's top three most technical tens in the world. So having them in the same box midfield, you've got those elite attributes on top of IQ, on top of good players around them. Do you know what I mean? You can make it work. But I think Wirtz, when he was dropping deeper, floating between the line, drawing out players, Szoboszlai was making runs, stretching Milan's defence, it's opening up space. Wirtz could exploit that space, Salah could exploit that space, Isak, potentially Ekitike, could run in those areas. And I think, when you've got technically secure, press-resistant players that are progressive, that are good players, I think there's something that could work with Szoboszlai and Wirtz in the same midfield. I think Arne Slot will be looking at something. But the big worries for Liverpool are Liverpool are going to have the best attack in the league next season. There's no doubt about it. It sucks. But up defence. Lack of centre-back depth is an issue. You never replace Matip. Gomez is injury prone. Konate is injury prone. Van Dijk is ageing. And Kwanzaa is gone without replacement. Even when Kwanzaa was here last year, I always felt that Liverpool needed a centre-back. I think Konate actually had one of his better seasons for fitness last year. But I think Liverpool need a centre-back. And I think Gay is the obvious solution. If they can't get Mark Gay, there's questions of who you go for. I think, obviously he's at Man United now. Lenny Yoro would have been a very good Van Dijk understudy. But, you ain't getting him. You can have Luke Shaw, though. Luke Shaw, he can play centre-back. You can have him. Only joking. But Liverpool need a centre-back. They need a centre-back. And it's becoming obvious. And because it's becoming obvious, Palace could put the price up. I'm not just saying they need a centre-back because they got done defensively this game. The Joe Gomez injury cements why they need a centre-back. They needed a centre-back when they lost Kwanzaa. They never replaced Matip. They need a centre-back. You could argue two, but they need at least one good level centre-back. Mark Gay. They could maybe bring in a young project centre-back, 10 million quid, somebody there. They could look at that guy. If they're looking for a left centre-back with Matip gone, they could look at that guy at Wolfsburg, the Greek guy, and I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I'm going to get it wrong. But it starts with a K. I think there's a player there. I think he might have been linked to him. He could be one to watch. But also, Liverpool, they just, I think you had injury issues last season, but you didn't have major injury issues last season. And I think if you start to get major injury issues at back, that's when there's concern. Anyway, I want to just talk about a few other points. I want to talk about Rio Ngumoha. He started, looked dangerous, looked direct, looked confident. Slot started him 3 games in a row. Shows Slot has some confidence in him. Ball carrying, looking to get involved, beat defenders. Quiet for a little bit. Has quiet spells. Once he gets involved in the game, he gets involved. Created problems, was looking to be direct. What I like about him is he's one of those wingers that likes to go from outside to in. One of those wingers that can get the ball outside the box and drive in the box. And I like those kind of direct wingers. And he's only 16, which just blows my mind. I honestly thought he was 18. I didn't realize he was 16. 16 is crazy. 18 and being a good youngster is crazy. But 16 is more crazy. Do you know what I mean? To be that good at 16, to be that direct is unbelievable. And with Diaz leaving and Nunes' future uncertain, there's a role for him as maybe Liverpool's 6th attacker. I still think Liverpool, just to take that reliance off a young kid, because every game is going to be high stakes for Liverpool next season, a title race, need to get a winger. I think, you've got Gakpo as the main left winger, you've got Isak as the main striker, Salah as the main right winger if you bring in Isak. Ekitike is back up to Isak, can be back up to Gakpo. Frimpong is looking like he's going to be back up to Salah. Rio Ngumoha is going to be looking like he's back up to Gakpo. But maybe another winger that can play left wing and right wing for that little bit of extra cover is something that you could look at. You could even look at Rafael Leao. I know there's concerns over his work rate, but when you've got a very high work rate squad, very good option. I think Arsenal should have gone for him. I really do. So I wanted to add that little bit about Rio Ngumoha. He impressed me. The bigger picture was good first half from Liverpool, good on the ball, fell apart defensively. Slot was trying things different. He was pushing his fullbacks high and wide, and I think that exposed Liverpool a bit. I almost feel like I don't think Slot's too bothered about conceding 4 goals and losing 4-2. I think Slot was trying something going forward, not so much defensively, to be honest. I think Gravenberch's pass for the Szoboszlai goal was very good as well. McAllister obviously going to come into this. Ekitike is going to come into this. Of course, they haven't got everybody involved yet. I think Elliott will be looking for a move. I think a centre-back is needed, a winger. You could argue DM. It's not essential, but, I think there was an over-reliance on Gravenberch last year. and he could go in at centre back if a centre back gets injured. But yeah, I thought the fullbacks were pushing high and wide rather than Szoboszlai starting right back and forming a box midfield. Slot was experimenting a little bit. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.